Alright, so chances are if you're really trying to get further into your storytelling, especially when you're creating a whole fantasy universe, you're probably going to want to write a religion at some point. There are literally dozens and dozens of different religions, and we haven't even started to address cults yet. So where do you begin? Does every religion have to follow some sort of deity or god? So what's the belief? How do people even begin into religions? How do religions form? How do they crumble? Where does this all begin? So hopefully we can at least answer some of that questions and dive into just a few things that can really make a religion come to life. And you can use some of these different aspects in your storytelling to figure out how it should begin, how does it affect your characters, and where does it belong to? I mean, what I can say for sure is it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to understand if you haven't followed a religion in the past. A lot of people can get very used to just simply understanding what Christianity is about, or Muslim, or Buddhism, or anything like that. It makes it far easier if you've actually attended a religion, but if you haven't, don't worry, I'm going to try and break down as much of that in this video as possible. So make sure you stick around and watch the entire video in order to find out how to get started writing your own religion. Let's start, shall we? Okay, so the first thing I want to get across is you really need to do some research. Study other religions, their beliefs, their history, and structure. The big thing you have to understand is that no one follows a religion or a cult without a really good reason. Often a religion or cult will have followers who want to become a better person. Some do it because that's how they grew into it, and some follow as they believe that they will be rewarded and have a happy life. So what's the purpose in believing in something? Why are the followers going into that religion? What are they hoping to gain out of it? There's even some people that follow a religion out of fear. Like they're afraid that if they don't worship this one god or deity, that they're going to be destroyed or sent to hell or something. I like to explain the difference between a religion versus a cult, by the way, as some get these mixed up. A religion is when a community worships a deity, god, or gods, while a cult is a community that worships an object or a physical person. Now, you might see religions have certain symbols or objects that represent what they worship, but they're not worshiping the object themselves. For instance, in Christianity, coming from a background of being a Christian myself, we often use the cross to represent Christianity. But we're not necessarily worshiping a cross. We're not worshiping that. It just becomes a symbol of our religion. Another thing you want to think about is what's the main value of your religion? What does it stand for? Did Christ himself come down from the heavens to die for our sins so that we may go to heaven? Do you learn that whatever you put into the world will come back? Do you seek wisdom and guidance from ancestors? I've written religions where you must complete a spiritual journey in order to go up to a heavenly place. And I've written a religion where you are represented as a stone within a wall of stones. You're supported by other stones, who are your ancestors, and you support other stones, which is your children, and therefore you must do what you can to help support the next generation. Think about names. The thing is, names are complicated. Who's naming them? And what language is it based? In Tolkien's Middle-earth, Gandalf is referred to as either his Maiar name, which is Olorin, or his commonly known names as either Gandalf, the Thranduil, or the Grey Wizard. In Christianity, we have a lot of names that derive from either Christ or Jesus Christ, and even the God in Christianity even has multiple names, some that derive from very ancient Latin or Hebrew all the way to English. You may have a religion which means something different to other communities. For instance, the ancient Roman and Greek gods are basically the same gods, but have different names and might have different representation. Another thing you want to think about is, how do followers worship this religion? What's the structure? Are there sermons and worship ceremonies? How often do they go to those ceremonies? How are those sermons and moments, how are they structured? What do people do? Do they basically sit down and listen to a pastor and a priest talk about religion? What's their job? Do people have to do certain activities, whether it's drinking from the cup of Christ, going to a statue and paying your respects? Maybe you have to wash your hands and bow a certain amount of times. Maybe you have to perform some sort of ritual. How do people pay their respects and go into that religion? Another thing is, how will your followers learn? Usually, religious beliefs and values are passed down through generations. In many cases, some create values write them down, and then followers read these texts. How is this information getting passed down from generation to generation? How is that getting passed down? Because sometimes it may be misinterpreted. Maybe it gets changed somehow. Maybe you have someone who details every single little thing to someone else, or maybe they just cover the basics so that it's not as detailed to the next person. You also may not have dedicated followers. Some followers will be super traditional and very, very serious, while some have a more relaxed approach. While some only care when it matters, like when some only attend a church on Christmas Eve or visit a Shinto shrines in Japan only on New Year's, focus on the values your religion brings and how it might help your characters. But focusing on the values that your religion will bring to help your characters will actually be really, really fascinating in helping you develop those characters and seeing how a religion plays a part in their journey, their beliefs, and how they deal with their situations. So there you go. I mean, as I said before, it's a very, very complicated subject. So hopefully I address as many of your questions as possible. But if not, let me know down in the comments. I want to genuinely help you figure out how to write your own religion. It doesn't have to be a negative thing too. I think a lot of people get really scared about writing religion. Really, as long as you follow certain basics, as long as it feels believable, I think anyone can follow it. I mean, think about all kinds of different religions and other different aspects of different storytelling. Okay, in the Tolkien universe, we follow Eru Ilúvatar. In Star Wars, we follow the Force. There's all kinds of temples and things that follow along with this. So let me know your thoughts. Please make sure to like and subscribe as always. And consider signing up to my Patreon as well. And checking out my merch down below. So good luck with your projects, and I'll see you next time.